Hey, it is week 3 post ALIF. 21 days ago, I was in the hospital and having like maybe 4, 5, 6 out of 10 pain because they put a titanium cage in my back with some bolts and they cut my abdomen open and they did all sorts of stuff. But it's been 3 whole weeks, and last week when I was doing my video, I thought that this week I probably wouldn't have a whole lot to report. I thought things were going to get a little more boring, but it's actually quite the opposite. Today, I'm just inside. I'm going to be doing some walking later, but it's cold outside, and I don't feel like going outside right now because we're actually going to be doing a whole bunch. So, whole lot to talk about, whole lot. In terms of the recovery phase, the hematoma that had formed around my cage week 1 is now soundly in the soft callus phase. So it's a bunch of tissue that is filled with capillaries being pumped with blood and pre-cartinogenous, I think I did an okay job with that word, pre-cartinogenous material, pre-bone material. It's all there, it's getting there. We will be in the soft callus phase for about 3 more weeks when it will start to become a hard callus. I have my next follow-up appointment on February 25th, at which point I will be released to work. So I've got a few more weeks of not working, which is nice. I've really been enjoying not working. I am taking my father's advice and just going to recover. It's also my doctor's advice as well, so it's good advice. And I think it's needed for reasons I'll get into. So yeah, the recovery is going well. I am still every day feeling better than the last day. I am to the point where I want to do things like run. I'm not gonna run, but I know I can keep moving, and that's all I can do. So in terms of things I have been doing, my walking volume, I have a little list here on my phone because there's just so much I want to talk about and I don't want to miss anything. My walking volume is maxed out. I did a test walk, 5 miles. It was fine. Towards the very end, I was starting to feel a little sloppy. Second day in a row, 5 miles, it was fine. But at this point, extra volume is going to do nothing for me. It's not building cardiovascular fitness. It's not, it's not speeding healing along. The whole point of walking is to keep everything moving, to keep all the nutrients flowing. My strength, my fitness, they're already there. They were there pre-surgery. Nothing I physically can do right now is going to add to that. In fact, my watch still says my VO2 max is 52, but that's because it hasn't been tracking it. Because I've paused my training status. Once I resume it, likely 4 or 5 months from now, I'm sure it's going to tank, but that's fine because we all knew that was going to happen. One cool thing, walking, and another reason I've toned down the volume a bit is because my altered gait, the way my whole physiology with my hip positioning and all of that has changed, has caused the way I walk to change. Naturally, we expected this. But my feet now are really sensitive. At the rear of my heels, I am starting to form calluses, to the touch. There's this little bit of pain and sensitivity because there's not a callus there yet. This is an area that was just not getting impact with how I walked before, and it is now. So it's kind of cool to see that happening. The different parts of my feet are taking different amounts of pressure. I can't wait to see when I start running again how my running shoes will start to wear. Because I have pairs of old shoes that I've retired, so I'll be able to compare and contrast. So that's really cool to see. So another reason I've toned down the walking just a little bit. Last Wednesday, I got my staples out. And one thing that I did not expect to happen happened. My walking immediately became a lot faster. I'm walking about 3.2, 3.3 miles an hour now without even trying. So even though the staples weren't physically hurting me, there must have been some sort of a neural inhibition, just having them there tugging at my skin, pulling and whatnot on the flesh underneath. Now that they're gone, I have a much smoother, faster gait, which is nice. Everything, of course, itches. There's no more tape on anything, so it's not annoying because I love scratching itches, but I also just have to avoid the incisions themselves because they are not fully healed. But everything is going swimmingly with that. So that was nice. One thing I wanted to mention last week is that I was really worried about this pre-surgery. Oftentimes, middle of the night, I would wake up with bad cramps in my calves. I would have to just get the heck out of bed and stand up to relieve the cramp. That was the only way to do it. And I was just worried, like, what happens after surgery if I suffer this? Because that's like, if I'm gonna mess up and twist and not log roll, like in a really bad high torsion way, that would be it, because that pain is immense. Hasn't happened since the surgery. So I'm thinking those cramps were likely tied to the neural problems caused by my pars defect and disc slip, because I haven't had them at all, not once, since the surgery. So that's pretty awesome too. Another thing, I have been becoming more automatic with safer movement patterns. I still make small mistakes. Yesterday, while wearing my brace at least, I bent over to pick something up. It was a vitamin C tablet that I dropped, so it's not like I was gonna break my back. And I was wearing my brace, and I'm pretty sure I mostly bent at my knees, but I shouldn't have done that. After the fact, I was like, oh, why did I do that? That was stupid. Today, I almost bent over to pick up my Roomba when it got stuck. Thankfully, I stopped, but for the most part, safer movement patterns are becoming automatic, which is good. I'm having to think about it less. I'm even doing like kind of movements with finesse without thinking about it, like just pivoting at my feet and my whole body follows. And so it's kind of cool to have that little bit of finesse in there with that. It's good because the movements themselves are requiring less cognitive load from me. There are still points where I'm actively slowing myself down. Again, downstairs for some reason. Every time I go, it must have just been very strongly enforced before. I would just fly downstairs, and it makes sense because that's how I did it for decades. I just let gravity do its job, but now I control it every single time actively. And there was a bit of like what I thought was going to be bad news that I was going to report, but yesterday it turned into kind of extremely optimistic news. So I have begun driving in earnest again, not like super far, but like I have, now that I'm fully cleared and the staples are gone, I've just been driving a little bit more. And last week when I was driving, sciatica cropped up. Same as before. It was going down my right leg, and naturally, you just go through this giant surgery, and it's to address this very problem, and the problem pops back up. You kind of freak out. I kind of freaked out. But I did a bunch of reading, I did a bunch of research. This is actually not uncommon. In fact, it's almost expected. The other person I'm following whose case is very similar to my own on YouTube, she had the same thing happen on week 3, so I'm glad I rewatched her week 3 video. It was a different form of sciatica for her, but she did have a sciatica pop back up. But for me, it was the same exact thing. And so I freaked out, but I did research. So when the decompression of the nerve happens, you're still going to have edema, fluid buildup. You might have myelin that has been kind of damaged and needs to be repaired. There's going to be inflammation all around the area. So there's things that will contribute to neurological pain. So there's that. So I learned all of that. And yesterday I was driving and I felt a little inkling of that sciatica. And I was like, you know what? It's nonsense. It's noise. The problem is fixed. And when I thought that, the problem went away. It just disappeared. I've never had that kind of command over the pain before. And so it would crop up here and there, just little inklings of pain. And every time it did, I would just shift my conscious focus to something else. Like, I am driving and it's a beautiful night. You know, I'm out having fun and, you know, I'm not inhibited. And every time I reframed how I thought about it, the pain disappeared. So what this tells me is that all of my pain is now purely neurological and not mechanical, and therefore I have the ability to consciously shut that signal off, which means, 1, that it actually is fixed, and 2, for anyone else going through ALIF who hits this stage, you may find that you have power over this pain now. If you actively try to redirect and control and just tell yourself that it is noise, because it literally, factually is noise, you may find that the pain decreases or even goes away. If I had tried this tactic before, my brain would have been like, yeah, no, your nerve is getting crushed. But now my brain is like, wait, oh, he's right. All right, shut up. So I'm really, really happy about that good news. Couldn't be happier. It's great. So yeah, this is a bit of a longer video because there was more I wanted to talk about. There is one last thing. My mother left the other day. It was kind of really sad to see her go, because this is the longest amount of time I got to spend with her since a long time ago, and she was amazing and did so much for me while she was out here, and I'm just so grateful for the amazing people in my life. Wiley is still out here. He's leaving this Thursday. Without her and him, this would have been intensely more difficult process. In fact, everything about this has been so easy, so straightforward, and so manageable. And it is in large part due to the amazing support network I have. Of course, there's a lot to say about the preparation I did in the prehab, but like the whole point of this bit right here is that I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Van. And thanks to all you for watching these videos. I hope they provide help to someone, especially that bit where you can cognitively alter the pain profile after surgery, because I am going to keep that up. I want to see how far I can push it. Maybe I can eliminate the pain entirely before all of the edema and inflammation and all that crap is gone. So, yeah, things are looking good. Things are looking great. I'll see you guys in the 4-week update, but I do believe that's all I've got for now. I checked off all the things on my list. I'm sure as soon as I hit stop recording, I'm going to be like, oh, damn it, there's that thing I wanted to talk about. But whatever, that happens. I'll save it for next week. All right, see y'all next time. Bye.